the crisis has really affected people in a lot of ways. You know, I think it's a time for leadership. It's a time for people to lead, whether they lead in business, lead in politics, lead in media, to give confidence to the world and make sure that the world doesn't stop for good. The crisis has really affected people in a lot of ways. And I already know that there are 36 million Americans that are out of work because of this, that were working before.
Right.
And that and about maybe 10 times that many around the world who were working before and now they're not. And I do know that work turns out to be where a lot of health is built around work. If you are working, you are much less likely to be injured, to have emotional problems, to have suicides, to have all those difficulties that people have when they're not working.
Right.
Work keeps people employed. It keeps them active and dynamic and having a sense of purpose. So getting those people back to work is going to be mission one for most of the leaders of the world.
Sure.
And I take it upon myself as a venture capitalist to try to figure out how I can fund companies that will end up employing those people. Some will be employed very quickly. If you're a machine learning expert in the travel industry, they're going to need you for machine learning in robotics or whatever, drone delivery, many uses for a machine learning expert. But if you are a waitress or an Uber driver or a hotelier, those skills do not translate super easily, and we need to think through how to get those people employed. So, and looking at the companies that we've backed, about half of them have been destroyed, or at least died for a couple of months, and now they're coming back. The other half have actually done very well because people have been trapped at home. Well, they've been experimenting. They've put on VR goggles, or they went and got themselves a Bitcoin wallet. They learned a new skill. They learned to code. So they learned no code. They got involved with Webflow. I think that there are many of these skills that are more relevant for the future. Like, I mean, people will want to use Bitcoin rather than dollars, particularly now, because the U.S. government is flooding the market with dollars. So your dollars aren't worth as much as they used to be, and the Bitcoin's worth more. So you know it's going to be better currency to use longer term anyway. In VR, I think people are going to start saying, hey, that's pretty interesting. I can use this for education. I was really entertained when I went into that VR thing. Now I can potentially use it. Zoom meetings can be done in VR with Arthur. We've accelerated as consumers because as consumers, it was just the early adopters who were using Bitcoin, and now it's opening up and the rest of the public is. It was just the early adopters who are using VR, and now the rest of the public is. So the consumer has jumped the chasm, or the companies have jumped the chasm to the ordinary consumer, and that means that the future got accelerated in some industries. In other industries, gosh, the travel industry, that may take years to recover from. I asked my wife, we saw this thing on TV and it was all about Italy. And I know she loves Italy. And I said, honey, you want to go to Italy? Look, nobody's there. And she looked at me like I was an alien. And like, what? Go get on an airplane, go to Italy. And I thought, wow, that is really, it's going to have a long-term effect on people's travel. And doing all these Zoom calls, I do realize that it is going to make me less likely to make, 8 trips to India or 5 trips to China a year.
Right.
I'm going to be much more likely to take 3 of them in Zoom calls and then the rest.
Right.
I still want to go, but I probably won't go as often. And people who have been fed all this media and they've given their brain over to the media, which is what people do when they're fearful. They've given their brain over to the media. Those people are going to take a long time to get back onto airplanes. So that's going to be, a lot of things have happened because of the virus, but it creates, the silver lining is that it creates an amazing opportunity for entrepreneurs to pull us out of this, take us to a new place. The future looks like it's got a lot of VR, it's got a lot of Bitcoin, and a lot of Bitcoin and a lot of data-driven healthcare. And that creates a very efficient world. And it's kind of pushing us into the future faster than we would have gone otherwise.